Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. I'm gonna do a short little video on the natural Butch Reed. I plan to do a video on that Black History Month founder Carter Woodson that I probably will do tomorrow. But natural Butch Reed ties into Black history in a way because he was one of the pioneers of Black professional wrestling. Starting his career in the late 70s in Florida after a failed football career. He soon moved on to the Mid South territory, and that's where I remember him the most. It's in the Mid South territory when he was Hacksaw Butch Reed, when he was managed by the Nature Boy Buddy Landell, and when he feuded with Sylvester Ritter, aka the Junkyard Dog. Now, this feud was very, very important historically because this was the first time ever in professional wrestling that two African American athletes ever main evented a Superdome show. You know, in the late 70s slash early 80s, when Bill Watts took over the Mid South territory, he decided to do two things. One was expand the territory from just Oklahoma City, Tulsa territory to um, to Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and East Texas. And when he did this, he decided that rather than have the baby faces or the good guys, the people that that the main attractions in the company be white guys like Dick Murdoch and like Buck Robley, he was going to switch it to African American stars like Sylvester Ritter, the Junkyard Dog, like Ernie Ladd, and he was going to even make Ernie Ladd his booker. A booker in wrestling is the guy that decides who's going to win and lose. And he was going against convention by doing this because no other booker had ever done this. So he built the entire division around black superstars. And just as you have Sylvester Ritter, a black guy, as the main hero, you also needed a villain, and that villain role was filled in by the natural Butch Reed, who at that time was called Hacksaw Butch Reed. Throughout the 1980s, him and the Junkyard Dog had a bunch of ghetto street fights, especially in the year of 1983, 84. He was JYD's most best opponent. People say it was Ted DiBiase. Some people say it was Fabulous Freebirds. But to me, the natural Butch Reed, Hacksaw Butch Reed was his best opponent. Um, from there, Butch Reed moved on to the WWF, where he was managed by the Slickster. And this is where I remember him. Because, like I always say, when wrestlers went other territories, I didn't really see them because I lived in the New York territory. My area was mostly the New York area. So when I got to know Butch Reed, that's why I always call him the natural, because he was known as the natural Butch Reed. When I got to know him, when he was managed by the Reverend Slick, and he had a match at WrestleMania 3 with the Birdman, Coco Beware, and he competed. He was supposed to be they were supposed to put the Intercontinental Championship on him, um, but he was late, so his slot of being the Intercontinental Champion got switched to the Honky Tonk Man, and then he competed in WrestleMania 4, which was the tournament to crown a new WWF champion after Andre the Giant had sold his title to Ted DiBiase, and Andre the Giant was stripped of the championship. Um, from there, Butch Reed was with the company for a little while longer, and then he switched to WCW, where he teamed with Ron Simmons as the Team of Doom. At first, they had masks on, like in the late '80s, like when they competed at Future Shock, Starcade '89. Um, but then they didn't have, then they became good guys and they didn't have no mask on, and then um, that's how Ron Simmons became a star, and Ron Simmons became the first black man to hold a major title in any professional wrestling organization. So Butch Reed, to me, um, he could have been the top dog. He could have been the top dog if he wasn't in companies already in with a lot of other top dogs like Hulk Hogan or the JYD. But his feuds with the JYD, the ghetto street fights, they were legendary. In the mid South area in the mid to late '80s. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to the natural Butch Reed, Hacksaw Butch Reed. He's a great contribution to black professional wrestlers because a lot of times uh, in the history of professional wrestling, just like in the history of life, black wrestlers they don't really get their just due. People remember Booker T now, especially because like Booker T is featured heavily into a lot of the storylines with Bad Bunny because of that Bad Bunny song. Um, People know Bianca Belair because she just won the Royal Rumble. But there's so many other black wrestlers who came before them. As a matter of fact, I'm in this group Talk of Champions with this girl, with one sister, Shantice. She always highlights the old school black wrestlers, and in the African American wrestling community, this loss of Butch Reed is a huge loss. You know what I mean? Because African American wrestlers they get swept under the rug, man. You know, people don't remember the Stella R. Thomases and the Bobo Brazils and the Junkyard Dogs and the Butch Reeds. People that were making just as much money as their white or Latino counterparts, but not getting the same recognition. Anyway, peace. Happy Black History Month. And it might not seem like it's an important part of Black History Month to y'all, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't highlight like important inventors like Elijah McCoy or Garrett Morgan or any you know important African American inventors. But to me, professional wrestling has always been a part of my life, and African American professional wrestlers deserve to be honored just like other professional wrestlers. Peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe.